Welcome to Level Up with LinkedIn and UCLAONE. I am Katie Russo, Director of Alumni Career Engagement within UCLA Alumni Affairs, and I'm joined by my colleague Melissa. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa. I'm also on the Alumni Career Engagement team. I'm the coordinator for our group. I'm also a Bruin, graduated 2010, and I'm excited to be here with you.
Perfect. Thanks, Melissa. So for tonight, what we will do in terms of structure is you're welcome. If you'd like to have your camera on, you can, but also for the first part, it's not needed. I'll be going through a slideshow briefly in my presentation. So you're welcome to have your camera off at that time while I just kind of talk through some of my slides and show you a few things on LinkedIn. And then after I show you some things on LinkedIn and give you a few tips and tricks, I will then turn it over to Melissa, who will give you a demo of UCLAONE and get you situated on that platform, give you an overview and make sure you know how to use all the different features on UCLAONE. And I will go ahead and get started here. So first I'm curious, and once again, you all can put your answers in the chat box, but I would love to hear more. And once again, I know I'm used to doing this presentation in person where I'm able to just, ask you all, but I would love to hear from you all in the chat box. What do you use LinkedIn for? So, what makes you go on LinkedIn? Why do you even log in, check the platform? So what do you use LinkedIn for? Maybe how often do you go on it? Feel free to throw your answers in the chat box if you'd like. I'm just curious and want to get a sense for that. But we will get started with kind of talking a little bit more about LinkedIn as a platform. Here we go. So LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network with over 706 million users in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. Obviously, its main purpose is it's a professional networking platform, but it also serves as a top job board and a fantastic employer and industry research site. The other thing to keep in mind is it's not just another social media site. I know at times it can feel like we have all our different platforms. You have your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, Twitter, all the above. But LinkedIn is different in that you do want to keep in mind that it is a professional site. So think about first impressions and language choice when it comes to not only what you choose to put on your profile and how you choose to present yourself, but also how you interact and engage with others on the platform. I can definitely tell you that I have a few stories in my bank that, I've had alumni reach out from seeing different interactions from students on LinkedIn and things like that. So just keep that in mind when you are, on the platform and engaging with others, connecting, commenting on things, posting first impressions. And, when people go on your profile, they can see your activity. So keep that in mind that it's not just another social media site. And there are people out there that when you're applying to jobs, we'll pull up your LinkedIn and there's people who've never met before that are, getting a sense of who you are and learning about you just solely off your LinkedIn. So a few kind of highlights of LinkedIn and networking stats that I want to share with you all. This is actually from LinkedIn's Student Job Hunting Handbook, I believe that they put out about 3 years ago. And most of these stats I think won't surprise you. There are a few that I think are noteworthy that I want to share, but 91% of recent grads networked during their job search. 80% of positions are filled through referral. I'd say it's probably closer to 85% at this point in time. 75% of hiring managers say they look at LinkedIn profiles to learn about a candidate's background. 50% of those same managers will actually decide whether or not to move forward with a candidate's application based on their LinkedIn profile. So once again, this is speaking to making sure that you feel confident about what you have on your LinkedIn. It's, filled out your experience section, and it's going to entice someone to move you forward in the candidate process and the hiring process. 1 of 5 hiring managers say they've hired someone because of their volunteer experience. So that's a great opportunity. Once again, your profile, you should have all of your experience highlighted that's on your resume. It's not just paid work experience. It's your involvement outside of your job and your careers. Additionally, 1 of 3 hiring managers say they're interested in seeing hobbies and co-curricular interests. So once again, what are those things that you're involved with outside of work, organizations or professional associations you're a part of, leadership roles you might have on different boards or committees. 56% of those hiring managers also say that candidates do not describe their job roles with enough depth and detail on LinkedIn. This is one that I think is pretty noteworthy to keep in mind because it is important, especially in your experience section of your LinkedIn profile, that not only are you, writing your job title and sharing the organization and tagging that in your section, but in that description box that you've written a few sentences about what you did in that role. What did you accomplish? What are skills that you gained? How are you walking away from that experience a better professional? What are, some different projects or programs that you worked on? And that opportunity there in your experience section is where you're able to showcase that. Members with photos get 14 times more profile views on average. Members with a school tagged in their profile get 10 times more views on average. And then LinkedIn members with at least one skill tagged get 13 times more views. So in the interest of time, I won't, let's see, actually, maybe I've had trouble in the past with this sound, but could you all hear the sound on that? Sometimes it doesn't. Just make sure, share computer sound.
If you're new to LinkedIn or just haven't visited for a while, you're probably wondering, how do you get the most out of your profile? As a LinkedIn employee, I often get asked, what makes a profile stand out? Whether you're hoping for companies to discover you or for colleagues looking to connect, there's a couple of things that you can quickly do that will make sure your profile gets seen. It all starts with your profile photo. The photo doesn't need to be perfect or done in a professional photo studio. Just a picture of you, not a vacation photo, picture of your lunch, or of you doing a headstand. So you've entered your current job title in the industry you're working in. Great, those are the big ones. But it's actually your summary that's the number one recruiters look at. 1 or 2 sentences is enough. It's great to include your professional experience, but don't forget to cover your education too. That way you can easily connect or be found by old college friends. You never know where they could be now. The last tip I've got for you is skills. Adding just 5 skills to your profile will really show what you can do and help you get found. If you want to work on a cruise ship, your karaoke skills are well worth a mention. If you want to work in project management, maybe not. Just doing these few simple things can genuinely lead you to big opportunities. Now it's up to you.
So now talking about, I want to talk more about, I think that video was a great overview of just some kind of quick tips and things to think about when it comes to your profile and what you want to make sure that you are including and highlighting. But in addition to the summary section, which I'll talk about momentarily, I want to also talk about the other 3 things that recruiters notice when they first land on your profile. So obviously your name, your photo, and the LinkedIn professional in that video gave a few tips about your photo, a nice clean headshot. You don't need a professional photographer or a photo shoot by any means. And then after that, it's your headline under your name. And so when you first start your LinkedIn profile, it will default to your current position or job. So, if you're currently employed somewhere, it'll have that. If you're searching, you can have that you're searching for specific types of roles or in an industry, but it will default to whatever is your current role. But I would recommend and encourage you all to think about tailoring it to something a little more personal and unique. That way your profile stands out when recruiters or hiring managers are scrolling through a number of LinkedIn profiles on the platform. So you can take this opportunity to kind of explain a little more of what you do or what you're passionate about, what your kind of career interests are. So one example I've given there on the PowerPoint is accomplished training and development professional, passionate about technology and lifelong learning. So, right, if I'm scrolling through and I see that, then maybe, an opportunity that opens up at my company in our talent and development team or learning and development, I can think, this is someone that might be interested in a role like that. So here's a few examples of what that might look like in terms of the headline. And once again, I do recommend that you even browse the platform. I'll show you ways to find more alumni today on the platform, but look and see other profiles out there, how they structured their headlines. Once again, you're going to see a majority of the people on LinkedIn, it will be their current job. So blank role at blank company, because that's the default. But there are a lot of people, I think, over time who have done this same strategy and implemented a more personalized and unique headline that encompasses a lot of the different things that they might be involved in, both career-wise with their job and also maybe different volunteer boards and things like that. So here's just a few examples, once again, of different versions of someone's headline. So your summary section, once again, as the LinkedIn professional talked about, that is one of the biggest things that a recruiter or someone that lands on your profile is going to look at first, right after seeing photo, okay, your name, maybe your industry, sometimes just seeing where you're located, and then they're going to go to your summary, because that's going to give them a nice snapshot of who you are, what you're about, what's your, kind of career focus, what have you worked on, different programs or projects, different career accomplishments. So your summary should be 40 words or more. It doesn't have to be any long essay by any means, but your first kind of mini paragraph, and I recommend just a kind of 3 mini paragraph structure as one strategy you can use in your summary section. But your first paragraph would really be kind of who you are, right? So briefly introducing yourself and who you are, what motivates you, what are you passionate about, what are your interests? And then your second mini paragraph is allowing you all to highlight your experience. So tell us about the jobs you've had. What are your strengths and skills that have come from those roles you've had, that when I scroll down and see your experience section, I've seen all the different things you've worked on, what you've accomplished, the variety of companies you've worked for. So that mini paragraph is really you talking a little more in depth about your professional work experience and what you bring to the table to potentially future employers. And then the third mini paragraph is not a necessity by any means, depending on where you're at in your career. So if you're content in your job, you might not be job searching. You may not have kind of a what's next. If you are actively job searching, you can have in there that you are exploring opportunities in blank industry, or you're exploring these types of roles in a number of different industries, and you can list those. So that mini paragraph is kind of the what's next prompter. You want to also include keywords, but not buzzwords. And so the difference there is that I'd recommend you're not just throwing around kind of those hot, sexy, trendy buzzwords of a specific industry that you know are going to maybe kind of like get people's attention. You want to focus on keywords that are really relevant to the types of jobs that you're interested in, or the job functions, and make sure that's incorporated throughout your profile. You also want to focus on career accomplishments. And the other, I think, best part about the summary section is it is an opportunity for you to showcase your personality and a little bit of who you are, right, as a person, as well as a professional. So I think it's important that if, depending on your style and how you want to write your summary section, I find that the LinkedIn profiles that I learn the most from, or people that I'm drawn to and wanting to connect with and maybe learn more from, are the people who have found a way to incorporate a little bit of their personality and who they are as human being outside of, I'm so-and-so and I work here. So it is a great opportunity for you to showcase a little bit of who you are and some of your personality. So your experience section. First is making sure that you have your specific job title and the organization tagged if possible. So if your company or organization is on LinkedIn, making sure that you have taken the time when you're filling in the experience section to type in the company and click from the drop-down options. That way the company is tagged, and if someone's on your profile, you can click into it to learn more about the organization if they have not heard of it before. And the other thing to keep in mind is your LinkedIn profile is not your exact resume full of bullet statements. So I say that in that, yes, obviously your LinkedIn profile is going to look very similar to your master resume, right? It's going to have all your different experiences, the different jobs you've had, leadership roles, maybe even in college, volunteer experience. It can have it all. And that's the nice part about LinkedIn, is the different sections that allow you to showcase all the different things that you've done, so far in your career. But it's different in the sense of your resume that it shouldn't just be a copied version of the bullet statements on your resume. As I learned from someone who worked at LinkedIn a few years ago at a conference, the difference he explained to me is that they really encourage users on the platform to allow their profile, especially in the experience section, that description box, to write just normal sentences about, what exactly that role was responsible for. What skills did you gain or enhance as a result of that role? What projects, programs did you work on? What did you accomplish there? And essentially what you want to think, and this is, kind of highlighting that third bullet I have there, but you want to think about how are you a better professional as a result of this position? What did you walk away from this experience having learned and gained that has better prepared you for the next role? So think about that as you're, writing a few sentences in the description section. And then also the other thing that's great about the experience section is your opportunity to add rich media to different sections to showcase your organization and the work you've done. So you can include websites, presentations, portfolios, photos. It lets you link to different PDFs, or I think you can upload a PowerPoint or something like that. Websites for sure, no problem there. Different also photos. So for example, like if you organized a great big program or event, you could have photos from the event. So think about definitely incorporating media or different links to allow people to see more of, the work you've done or what the organization is about in that experience section. Okay, so now I'm going to actually, I'm sure some of you are maybe already following along and you have your LinkedIn pulled up. If not, depending on if you're able to, I know you might be on laptop, iPad, phone, whatever you're on. If you're able to pull up your LinkedIn and follow along with me, I think that you will benefit greatly from seeing the features I show you. And that way, hopefully you can remember how I got there. So feel free to pull up your LinkedIn at this time. I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint so that I can pull it up as well. So now I think you can see my LinkedIn. So when you're on the platform, you logged in, this is the homepage. So what you're going to do first is I'm going to show you how to create your customized LinkedIn URL. So if you go up here to me, you click view profile. When you first make your profile, you're going to click, you're on the right-hand side of the top, you click edit public profile and URL. So click that. When you first make your LinkedIn account, your URL will be a mixture of, it will say linkedin.com/in/ like letters and numbers, and your name is somewhere in there. But if you go up here, click this edit your custom URL, and you can type in your first and last name. You could type in, first initial, last name, whatever you'd like there. I always say, once again, if you're a John Smith, there's a lot of you out there, you're probably going to have to add a number because I would imagine John Smith is already taken. So type in your name or whatever works for you, add a number, whatever you'd like, click save. LinkedIn will tell you if it'll automatically save and you're good to go. And then you can add that URL to your application materials. So for your resume and cover letter at the top in your header section with your contact information, you have your name, your phone number, your email. Now you can add your LinkedIn URL as well so that they can immediately go and click into your LinkedIn. So linkedin.com/in/ whatever you've chosen to type in there, saved and ready to go. So now going back to the home page, I'm going to show you the Alumni Tool. So the easiest way to get there is start typing in UCLA. And once again, you have to spell it all the way out for LinkedIn. You want to make sure though you go to the school page. So I think you might have seen earlier as I was typing it in, there was a company page. Make sure that you click on the school page. So click in on school. And then once you're on the school page, I'm sure as alumni of this amazing institution, number one, as we know, you're already following the page. If you're not, you can follow it right there up top right. But on the left-hand side, you're going to click alumni. And this is going to bring you to the Alumni Tool, which is going to be your new best friend in terms of finding other Bruins to network with and to connect with, either in your same industry or potentially in an industry that you maybe want to pivot into or change into another industry. A great resource for finding individuals to reach out to for informational interviews and, coffee chats, things like that, Zoom coffee chats. So once you're in here, as you can see, there's over 418,000 UCLA alumni on LinkedIn, which is pretty amazing given the fact that there's over 500,000 UCLA alumni across the world. So majority are actually on LinkedIn. So what you can do here, as you can see, is first you can sort these alumni by where they live. So if you are, depending on where you're at, maybe you're in New York, DC, you're in Seattle, if you're looking to connect with other Bruins there, you can sort by location and you can always type in a location. Obviously, it's going to show you the top locations here with the different bars. And then you can sort by employer. So obviously you see some of the top companies that we have Bruins working at right now, but I'm sure you all have companies and organizations out there that you follow or that you really value and resonate with, and they're companies that you would want to work for. So you can type in a company there and see, hey, are there any Bruins working at ESPN or working at Disney, wherever it may be. And then the other thing I do want to highlight to, as many of you can see, that UCLA one is the top employer. It will always be the top employer there. As you can see, it shows over 5,000 people. And that's because it's taking all of the current students that have their current headline defaulted to student at UCLA. It has UCLA essentially as kind of their employer or where they're working. So as well as, you know, students that might work part-time on campus. So that will always be the top. And yes, it's a combination of the fact that it doesn't mean necessarily that there's over 5,000 alumni working at UCLA. There are a lot of alumni that do end up coming back and working at UCLA, but it is a majority of students that make up that population. So just keep that in mind. That's why it'll always show up top. And then what I want to show you from here is if you click next, and this is, I think, really beneficial for many of you, especially that have been out in your career for a few years and have specific industries or job functions that you kind of carved your lane out for. So if you click that next, as you can see, you can sort alumni by what they do and their industry. So if I wanted to look for alumni in media and communication, I'd click that. And then I'm going to go back to the next just to show you this again. You can also sort by major and what they studied or academic programs. So especially for those of you out there with graduate or advanced degrees from UCLA, you know, obviously they show popular ones here and you can click into those. But once again, you click this ad, you type in your academic program, and you can find more people who graduated with the same degree as you. So you can go back here. And then once again, let's say I was looking for alumni in the Bay Area. Like let's say I wanted to connect with more alumni working in media and communication in the Bay Area. Now I have 19, over 1,000, almost 2,000 actually, alumni to look through, much more feasible amount. And then I can even see those top employers here where they work, because it'll just filter it down the more I select different options here. And then I can scroll down and see who these people are. And once again, the great part of this is I get to see shared and mutual connections. So for example, if I wanted to talk to Kalia Waite-Smith, I can see I have 3 shared connections here. I'd reach out to one of those 3 connections and say, hey, D'Artagnan, would I be able to, I'd love to get connected to Kalia. I see that you guys are connected on LinkedIn. I'd love to learn more about her career path, how she got there. So, you know, scroll down, play around with the filters and the different options with, you know, industry, employer, potentially location or academic program, and find more alumni that, you know, are either in your same industry or that you want to get connected to. And this is a great opportunity to be able to reach out to them and ask for, you know, virtual career chat over Zoom or an informational interview, anything like that. This tool is really powerful, and there's so many Bruins in here that you can get connected to. So this is the Alumni Tool. And then the other thing I want to show you as well is I want to also highlight, because I think sometimes that when you first make your LinkedIn, you might forget that this is an option that you can do, but I do want to highlight how you can change your your profile viewing settings on LinkedIn in case you haven't before. So once again, you go up here to this me, you click settings and privacy, and then you're going to click this visibility on the left-hand side. And it's this first one that says profile viewing options. Click that. So as you can see, there's 3 different options that LinkedIn gives you. So the first one is obviously that fully public one, your name and your headline. When you first make your LinkedIn, it will default to the fully public option. So, right, there's my name, my picture, my full headline. And if I select that option, what happens there is if I'm searching for other people on LinkedIn and I pull up someone's profile, so let's say I'm looking at my colleague, Melissa, I pull up her LinkedIn profile, I'm on there, Melissa will get a notification that says, Katie Russo viewed your profile. Okay. If Melissa looked at mine, I also get that notification back. Melissa looked at your profile. So that's what happens when you choose that first option of fully public. Then as you can see, there's the semi-private characteristics. So for me, it would be someone at University of San Diego, which is where I went to graduate school. And then the third option, which is the fully private mode, and you are anonymous LinkedIn member. I'm sure many of us have seen this at times, you know, of some, you know, someone at some company or something viewed your profile. I would suggest, depending on how you're using LinkedIn, if you're looking up a lot of people, maybe you're actively job searching and networking, it might be best to go in the semi-private or the anonymous mode, so that, you know, people aren't getting notifications every time you look at their profile. It's totally your call. The other thing that I will share once again is, if you do opt to select the anonymous LinkedIn member viewing mode, then you're also agreeing to the fact that you won't ever get notified about who views your profile. So when you're in that mode, no one will get notified that you view their profile, but also the catch of that is that you'll never get notifications of who's looking at your profile. So it depends on what you care more about. If you don't care about seeing who looks at your profile, you can choose one of the other two, but I did want to highlight that because I think sometimes people don't realize the different options in there and what kind of limitations each one comes with. So keep that in mind, but that's how you update that. So now going back to LinkedIn, I do want to quickly show you our UCLA Alumni LinkedIn group, because if you're not a part of it, I highly recommend you join our LinkedIn group. We have almost 50,000 members. So once again, type in UCLA Alumni on this in the search bar. Here we go, we'll come up right there. As you see, almost 48,000 people in here. You know, it's a really great place. People post jobs, people post different events and programs. We, as a staff working in the Alumni Association, post all kinds of programs and events and different Zoom webinars and things for you all to take part of that might be beneficial depending on your interests or career level. So join the LinkedIn group for sure. And then the other thing I want to show you is setting up job alerts. So if you click this little briefcase up here, and then I'm going to show you just an example. So I'm going to say I'm looking for marketing jobs, and I'm going to say the Bay Area. We're just going to stick. So I type in keyword and a location. That's really important for how you set up the job search alerts. And then once you have typed in keyword and location, what you're going to do is I recommend filtering that down a little bit. So an experience level, you can say if you're looking for maybe an associate level, depending on where you're at in your career. You might say job type full-time, click apply. So use the filters up top strategically. That way you're not having to look through, over 4,000 results of things that are asking for something that's way more experience than you're looking for or something like that. So filter it down. You can also, once again, to kind of filter it even more, you can click date posted. And sometimes I say within the past week, that way you're getting the newest, freshest postings where someone is actively hiring right now. And now I have just over 1,000. So what I can do is from there, this little toggle that says job alert off, I can click job alert on and I can opt to select if I want a daily or weekly notification. And I can say if I want it to be an email or a LinkedIn notification. If you have the LinkedIn app, it'll just give you a notification in there. It's great. If you don't have a LinkedIn app, I do recommend it. Otherwise, you can just say you want an email. And once you click this, you click save. Next Wednesday, so a week from today, what LinkedIn will do is they'll send you an email and they'll say, here's, 32 new marketing jobs, associate marketing jobs in full-time in the Bay Area posted in the last week. And you can click right into those 32 postings and it allows you, it's just something that once again, I think helps you sift through the noise a little bit. Job searching is, can be a full-time job in itself. So it's something that really works off the clock for you to try to help you find things that are more relevant to the types of roles you're looking for. So you just click save. I'm going to cancel that for now. And then the nice thing is some of you might be looking for, different types of roles within one specific industry, or you might be looking for different jobs in multiple industries. You're open to working in entertainment or sports or media, whatever it may be, you're looking nonprofit, education. So the nice thing is you can actually set up to 10 different free job search alerts just in the way I showed you on LinkedIn. You don't need a premium account, completely free. You can have just your normal basic LinkedIn account and set up 10 different ones. And the way that you can do that, you can always manage them. You click their little briefcase up top in the job section. And where it says job alerts here, you click into those and that's where you can manage any of your job alerts that you've set up for yourself. You can edit them, delete them, make new ones. So those are the job alerts. I'm going to stop sharing from here actually. So back on LinkedIn, I do want to quickly show using my profile as an example, just want to highlight once again some of the sections I talked about. So obviously you have your name, your headline, your about section, that's your summary. And as I suggested, look at other people's profiles and kind of get a sense for the different summary sections that stand out to you. What do you like about other people's? What do you want to incorporate in your own? How can you make it, speak to the things that you are passionate about and your career accomplishments? And then after that, there is the featured section, which is great because once again, talking about that rich media and your experience section, you can add presentations, links to different things that you've worked on. That way people can get a sense of like, here's some of the work that you've done. And then from there, once again, as you can see, your experience section, and this is something I still actually have to work on, as I advised to you all, I have to transition my bullet statements from my resume in certain sections and turn them into sentences that have described more in depth of what I did in that role. But as you can see in my UCLA role, right, I have links there, and I've given a brief description about the types of programs. Once again, you'll have UCLA in your education section. I actually think I had read somewhere a LinkedIn fact that if you have a school in your education section tag, you're 17 times, on average, 17 times more likely to get a message from recruiters with a school tagged in your education section. So once again, volunteer experience, if you have at least 5 skills, and you can have colleagues or friends endorse you for those skills that are your strongest in or your key strengths. And then recommendations are really important too. So think about past colleagues or supervisors or peers that you've worked with that might be able to write a brief recommendation for you of, how great you were, how easy it was to work on a project with you, what your key strengths were, and what you bring to the table for, potentially a next role or a future employer. So those are just some brief profile highlights. And now I will stop sharing and come back to you all. I believe that's all I had in terms of wanting to give you kind of the brief overview of LinkedIn and some key features and highlights. So I will now turn it over to my colleague, Melissa, to give you a UCLA1 demo.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Katie. My turn. I will share my screen. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with UCLA1, this is UCLA's own networking platform. It goes hand in hand with LinkedIn. So it's by no means supposed to replace LinkedIn and all of the valuable connections that you can make there and all of the information that's housed on LinkedIn. But this goes hand in hand with that as a resource. So if you are not yet on UCLA1, you can click any of these Join Now buttons that scroll through when you land on the homepage. If you are already, you can sign in a number of ways. And today I recommend that you sign in using LinkedIn. So that's what we will do. And that'll take us now to the homepage. So since we are talking about the value of LinkedIn and UCLA1, the first thing that I do want to show you is how to sync your LinkedIn account if you're not logging in using LinkedIn. You would go here to your settings. We'll let it load. And here, right where it says connect and sync your LinkedIn account, I would recommend resyncing it anytime you make updates to your LinkedIn profile. It doesn't automatically do this, so it's something that you would want to remember to do. We get some calls sometimes saying, hey, I started a new job, I updated my LinkedIn profile, but it's not showing yet on UCLA1. I'm still getting contacted about previous roles I've had, and this is likely to be the issue. You would want to resync your LinkedIn account just to make sure that all of the information that you've updated there is brought over to UCLA1 and up to date. So moving from there, we will check out another section of your profile. When you go to edit your profile, one of the things that we've just added, this came through in August, is a way for alumni to offer help and to also seek help. So here, as you go through, where it says offer help and seek help, we provided very tangible ways that UCLA alumni can either offer or seek specific help related to their career search. So whether it's facilitating mock interviews, participating in networking events, reviewing cover letters or resumes. So you can see here that in this mocked version, I've opted to offer help in 4 different ways. I can also say that I want help in specific areas and save that, because you never know who's looking at your profile, who may want to reach out to you and give you that help. So that is a great way to add some extra information to your profile. The way that information is then manifested is in this directory section. You'll see everyone here. We have 46,000 users. The directory is quite robust and everyone is listed here who's on platform. So these filters here on the right-hand side can help you narrow down who you want to reach out to if you're looking for help or offering help. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for someone who can do let's say job shadowing or skills building opportunities. So once I've selected that, you'll see it's narrowed it down to 227 users who have selected that option. The great thing is that they've also then updated their profile to give specifics about what kind of opportunities they can give. And the same goes for if they want to present or be a guest speaker. In their profile, then they have indicated the different ways or the different topics that they're comfortable speaking on. To narrow it down further, we can use an example and say we are studying sociology, or I graduated in sociology, and you'll see now we have 11 registered users who are interested in helping out. So let's check out Debbie here. Debbie has a very complete profile. She's indicated the different ways that she's willing to help. So I can request help here, let her know, hey, I'm looking for job shadowing, and just type in my message here, hi Debbie. Send it off to Debbie. If you scroll through, she's also indicated the different volunteer experiences and interests and hobbies relating to her connection to UCLA. So that might be a great conversation starting point if you're reaching out to her for mock interviews or things like that. She's interested in speaking on specific topics, can offer job shadowing skills. And she's also part of our alumni mentor program. She has offered to give help to our students and other alumni through the request help functions. If you are looking to help a student, you can join our alumni mentor program, and I'd encourage you to check that out if you are willing to do a more year-long mentorship versus these one-off unique opportunities. UCLAONE here, let's go to the feed. So unlike other social media platforms like LinkedIn, you don't have a personal feed that's your own profile that people can go and see your updates. Any updates that you want to make would be here on the general feed. So you'll see users come here, they start discussions, they will put news articles that they've written, they may add information about podcasts they're listening to, or this Kevin has mentorship opportunities. And so there's always lively discussion here on the feed, and I encourage you to add to the discussion, comment on someone else's posts, or if you have anything that you want to start talking about, this is a great place to do that. We do have a jobs board that's available both for searching and for posting. So if you have opportunities, if you're in the position to hire, you can post a job here. If not, this is a great place to also search for opportunities. The filters here, much like the directory filters, you can check employment types, full-time, part-time. We've added a remote option. So if there are jobs that are hiring remotely, you can pare down your search like that. We've also integrated a handshake feed. And so no worries if you don't have a handshake account. All of these are updated daily. So if you see any positions that are of interest to you, you can always just go directly to that company's website to find out more information. We have about 50 groups on UCLAONE. They're sorted into different affiliations. It might be based on student groups that you were part of, but we do also have industry groups. So if you are looking to connect with people who work in aerospace or biotech, I encourage you to join these groups. Some of them are very active, some of them less so, but it really is what you make of it. So if you're looking for specific help, reach out to the other members of these groups, and Bruins Helping Bruins is usually where what we like to promote. And so this is a great way to let other people know what you're in need of, but also how you can help. We do have businesses and services here. This is a new function launched this year. You can look for Bruin affiliated businesses through the search. You can click on any of these categories. You can also type in specific keywords. If you were looking for an optometrist, you would type that in there and any optometrist would pop up. And you can also search by location. So if you're a Bruin residing in the Bay Area, you can type in San Francisco and see what Bruin businesses are in your neighborhood. And let's see, I believe I've touched on everything. So we will move now into our Q&A session, and let us know if you have any questions about what we've talked about.
Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, so happy to take questions now from any of you that have questions that might have come up along the way. Feel free, you should be able to unmute yourself yourself if you would like to ask a question, or also if you want to just type your question in the chat and we can take it from there. But if there's anything that has come up from UCLA One with Melissa or other LinkedIn things, we're happy to answer your questions now.
I actually had a question for LinkedIn. What is your recommendation on using emojis? I see them a lot in headlines and like the about section, and from like a variety of professional levels too, not just like millennials or whatnot. Do you see these as professional?
That's a good question, Leah. I think, it's funny you say that, because I actually think in the last year, I've seen more emojis than normal on LinkedIn. And maybe it's just that they were finally showing up in the right way and not, not showing up, how they, like, if you weren't able to tell what that item was. I think initially sometimes on certain comments, I would say for me, my gut answer on that is that sometimes in the way I've seen them show up in like headlines or people like putting a lot of them in different things, I think it can look a little cluttered. So I would say if you are thinking about using emojis, like one or two that really, I think if they really mean a lot to what you're trying to convey, I totally get it. But I would err on the side of less emojis is more.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Other questions? Or you all might be busy browsing UCLA One or the Alumni Tool on LinkedIn. From everything Melissa showed you, you're in the directory finding some people to connect with. But and once again, I did say this in the chat for those of you that are still on here with us. We will be sharing a follow-up email. I hopefully you weren't taking copious notes throughout my PowerPoint. We'll be sharing a follow-up email with the slide deck that I shared, as well as some other links to, once again, our website, any other UCLA One information that we want to share with you. Like Melissa said, the Alumni Mentor Program is still open for you to sign up. And then I did also share a great PDF that's actually from LinkedIn Marketing Solutions with a little more, it's a great PDF with more guidance on profile tips and things to think about of how you're filling out your full profile section. So you can, keep that or bookmark it as well as bookmarking our alumni career engagement website. We have a lot of great resources on there, including, listening to our Brew and Success podcast. We have career coaches that you can reach out to for more one-on-one career coaching services, depending on what your needs are. But it's another great site you can bookmark for a lot of different resources when it comes to your career goals or kind of where you're at with, your current job or wanting to network more and things like that.